The Trap Set will always be available for free, but we rely on donations from our listeners. Please visit our website at thetrapset.net and click donate. Subscribe to our show on iTunes, and if you enjoy what you hear, give us a review.
This episode of The Trap Set is brought to you by Colectivo Coffee, handmade coffee since 1993. Check them out online at colectivo.com. This is Joe Wong. Welcome to The Trap Set, where each week we explore the lives of drummers. I want to play something for you. You're hearing Sweet Willie Roll Bar by the Melvins, featuring my guest, Dale Crover on drums. Since 1984, Dale, along with guitarist and collaborator Buzz Osborne, have been the core of the Melvins, one of the heaviest bands on the planet. The Melvins can lay down big riffs and devastating beats with the best of them, but they're just as likely to play a 20-minute song that moves so slowly you might just lose your mind. Even if you've never heard of them, you've heard of the bands they've influenced. Remember the 90s grunge explosion? Or metal bands like Tool, Mastodon, and Boris, the latter of which took its name from a Melvins song. Or maybe you've heard of a little band called Nirvana. Kurt Cobain was a deeply devoted Melvins fan, and Dale appears on 3 Nirvana recordings. Cobain repaid the favor by helping the Melvins get a major label deal. In person, Dale is a laid-back family man, but his affable West Coast personality belies his massive presence behind the drum kit. Many drummers are called thunderous, but Dale truly earns that moniker. To see him live is to behold a drum god who's more likely than not playing in his underwear. And now our interview with Dale Crover. Where do you come from?
I grew up in Aberdeen, Washington, a really small town on the coast, probably about 120 miles southwest of Seattle. Real small town, logging town, lots of rednecks. Lots of rain, lots of nothing to do.
What did your parents do?
My dad was in construction, and then my mom was a bookkeeper. She worked at a mortuary. She was a bookkeeper at a mortuary. That was kind of strange because, sometimes I would be out of school and kind of having to hang out there, and that was always weird. I'm like, don't you ever get weirded out about there being bodies here? She's like, nah, what are they going to do?
Did you have brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I had 3 brothers and 2 sisters, and they're all older than me. According to my brothers, I kind of got away with everything because at that point, they'd already raised a bunch of kids. And
they were just like, fuck it.
Yeah, they weren't nearly as strict. And, they were really supportive about me playing music and stuff. And Melvins actually practiced at our house for a while,
What kind of stuff did you do before you got into music?
Well, I played baseball, of course, sports, stuff like that.
What position?
I was always right field because I couldn't throw very well. Or then when I got a little bit better, I played first base. I could always hit pretty good, but I could never. I didn't have an arm, no cannon arm.
When did you get into music?
Pretty early on. I mean, I kind of remember it always being around, especially with my older brothers. They had Beatles records and I remember watching the Monkees TV show.
Yeah.
All the time, and as a kid,
that was the first concert I ever saw.
Really,
the Monkees.
That's
on their
great.
80-something reunion, 86
right.
reunion or something.
Right. I still haven't seen them. I kind of wish I had. I know about 2 years ago they did the entire Head record.
Wow.
They did a show here at the Greek, and I kind of found out about
That's
it.
That's right by my house. I should have gone.
Yeah.
Oh well. So that was like what you grew up on, like Beatles and Monkees.
Oh yeah, totally. Beatles, Monkees.
When were you born? Late 60s?
67.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, hand-me-down records from my brothers, those two. And then, what really hit, I mean, I liked that stuff a lot and really, was into music, even, like 6-year-old kid listening to Sgt. Pepper's, and
awesome.
Loving that record and still loving it. I still like all the Beatles stuff. And Monkees, I still listen to that all the time.
When did you start playing music?
I started playing guitar at about 8. you know, besides having like the little kid drum sets and stuff like that, you know, I mean, so I was always interested in drums, but I started guitar at 8 and did that for a while and just, you know, learning like real simple chords and stuff. And I just had an acoustic guitar. So
did you have any kind of magical experience when you were playing guitar? Like, was there like any moment that felt like, wow, this is really for me? Or
not until later. No. And it wasn't necessarily with guitar either. I mean, you know, the band that really was kind of like, for me, it was kind of like, I suppose, people that are probably about 10 years older than me always say, like, seeing the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show was the thing that opened their eyes to rock and roll and music and all that stuff.
So was it Kiss for you?
Yes, it was. It was Kiss. It was the Paul Lynde Halloween special. And I remember just going, like, thinking it was just weird. You know, this is really weird. What, you know, I mean, like I said, I already was into music and stuff, but just seeing that was just like, wow, this is really weird stuff. And then after that, pretty much every kid at my school was into it, and then I heard all those records, and
I feel like I missed that window. Like I'm a little bit too young.
Yeah.
Like when I listen back to, I tried to like Kiss, and I feel like you had to be there.
I think you kind of had to, because you know.
Did you have the lunchbox and everything?
I didn't have the lunchbox, but I had everything else. Like my wall was nothing but Kiss posters for at least for a good year, and that's all I would listen to. You know, they had a bunch of records, so it was okay.
Did listening to them make you want to be a musician, or was it so
that
fantastic?
was it. Something to do with it. Yeah.
Okay.
Just being you know, fully into it, 100%. And then that was just like, yeah, this is what I want to do, you know, just deciding. And this was like 5th, 6th grade, you know. About 5th grade is when I kind of started playing drums. I remember there was talent shows at my elementary school, and the next door neighbors had a drum set, and I borrowed it and made my friend play them, you know. And I made up some song, and he's playing them. Like,
so you made a song, you didn't cover a song.
I think I made one, and then eventually I learned how to play Cat Scratch Fever by Ted Nugent, and then the following year it was that song. But I remember making my friend play the drums, and then going, no, you do it like this, and then just kind of showing him. And I didn't. So
you had some sort of innate knowledge on how to play drums?
I guess. I'm like, no, you do it like this, and so then it was just like, wait, this is really fun.
Can you remember what it was like to play drums with a guitar player the first time?
No, I don't know, but it was, I mean, it had to have been, you know, it was probably him.
Yeah.
You know, he ended up actually being in a band called Metal Church. So,
okay, yeah.
You know, and they were somewhat popular. It's kind of weird that there would be, I mean, there's a few bands that came out of Aberdeen.
Of course, yeah.
And you wouldn't, I mean, it's such a small area. It's just, it's really odd.
What do you think it is about that particular community that
I don't know, nothing
nurtured
to do,
so many
guess.
Bands? But there's so many places around the country with nothing to do.
Sure, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't really know.
How did you hook up with Melvins guys?
They had actually seen me play in this cover band.
At a dance?
Were they at a dance at the college. Like a couple of the guys were out of high school and went to college, and I knew Chris Novoselic. Mm-hmm. I knew his. He was just a couple years older than me, but I knew his brother really well, and then so I knew him as well. He brought 2 of the guys in the band over to my house, saying that they were looking for a new drummer, and I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to jam with you guys. That'd be great." And so that was that. You know, Chris Novoselic got.
Did they haze you at all?
Did they haze me?
Were they a little bit older than you?
They were, but no, they were.
They were cool?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they turned me on to, like, you know, a whole new world I didn't know about, and tons of music
Yeah, what did they turn you on to?
Oh, God, it was like like 50 bands at once that took me years to catch up.
Like independent bands? And
Yeah, I mean, Black Flag was one of them that I really, really got into, and probably got into those guys right away. Tons of bands. Lots of the stuff on SST, you know, like Meat Puppets, Husker Du, Saint Vitus, and then other bands like MC5 and the Stooges.
Yeah.
And it was cool because they liked all this weird punk rock stuff, but also still liked they liked Kiss. You know?
Right.
They were a bit older than me, but still were young enough to really like that stuff.
So you joined Melvins in what, 82, 83?
84.
84, okay.
Yep. August of 84.
Okay, so you were about 17 at the time?
16, going on 17. Yeah.
And were you still going to school, or did you?
Yeah, I was still in high school.
Okay. And some of the guys were in college at the time, or?
I think they'd even kind of dropped out at that point.
Okay.
And we're just really trying to concentrate on music, But they still both lived with their parents.
Okay.
So those guys were 20.
It makes it easier to concentrate on music.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think that your drumming style was fully formed when you joined the band? Or
no,
did it
I think the band definitely helped form my style, and working with Buzz too. I mean, he always has good ideas of, since he's a songwriter. I mean, yeah, he's got ideas of how he wants the drums to go.
Does he play drums too?
A little bit, I mean, he doesn't always have ideas, and sometimes we'll jam and I'll come up with things, but I mean, a lot of times he'll give me ideas, which is great, I mean, because it'll be something that I wouldn't have thought of, or wouldn't think of playing that way,
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, when I joined, they were into it because they wanted a heavy metal drummer, and like the drummers I liked were like Clive Burr from Iron Maiden, Les Binks from Judas Priest. That's the kind of stuff I was into right when I joined the band.
So you were 17 and you were missing school, but you were the baby of the family. So did you get away with it, or were your parents
sort
pissed?
Of, there was a tour coming up, and it was going to be during school time, and I actually went to my counselor, and I'm like, told him what was going on, and he's like, well, I mean, yeah, because you're missing so much school, you're failing everything except band. And, it's obviously, what you want to do. And I think that what you should do is just drop out, do this tour, and if you want to come back.
So you had like a cool hippie counselor,
sort
basically?
of. I mean, but he was right.
Yeah, he was right, but so often they're not right.
I know, but yeah, and that was the only time I ever talked to him. And
that's great.
Now I wish I would have talked to him more, because, I mean, yeah, he's like, you're going to learn more going out and doing this than you are here. I think you should do it.
So
pretty amazing.
Did you drop out?
So, yeah, I dropped out, and then when we came back from the tour, my mom was like, well, you either got to go back to school or you got to get a job. So I got a job.
What's your job? What
was your job? I was working at a pizza place.
Uh-huh. So making pizza, delivering
Making pizzas, yeah. And then I got Buzz a job there delivering pizzas. And then
would you get into any hijinks together at the pizza joint, or was it all business?
Oh yeah.
When did you move to San Francisco? Right after high school?
88.
Okay.
So right when the whole Seattle thing was about to explode, we moved.
You also played on Bleach.
Yeah, I did.
And
yeah.
you had another band called Fecal Matter with Kurt, right?
Yeah, that was kind of his band. That he'd do these demo tapes, and at first it was just him, and then he and I wrote a bunch. Like he wrote the songs, and then I helped by playing bass and drums. And this one thing that's kind of that people kind of know about now is a 4-track demo that we did at his aunt's house. She had this reel-to-reel tape deck, and I remember.
Was she a musician?
She was like a Christian artist.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, she had her own 7-inch out. So so she, being a musician, really liked Kurt, and was like, yeah, come up and you guys can record, and I have gear, everything. So. It was just in her little back room of her house, but so yeah, I can't remember how we got on this.
You were talking about how Seattle was exploding, and
right, okay, yeah, right
after you left.
So yeah, which didn't really hurt us because people still thought we were still considered a Seattle band anyway.
Well, and also when Nirvana got huge, Kurt gave you guys a lot of props.
Yeah, exactly.
But when you were working with him, did it feel like you were working with somebody who is like
musical
special?
Genius?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
do you think he's a musical genius?
I mean, yeah, I really like his stuff a lot, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, his early stuff obviously was influenced by Melvins, and you could tell,
Of course.
There wasn't any other bands around there to be influenced by. So, but I mean, we always really liked him, and at one point early on, we were going to maybe have him play in the band, but he didn't have an amp. It was the big problem. So we're like, I guess that's not really going to work. But anyway, I mean, he eventually got one, and then.
To me, I never knew him, and I was a young kid when Nirvana came out. And Nirvana was actually my gateway into bands like Melvins and all the SST stuff. I think lots of kids my age would have said the same thing. Like, I remember on one of their albums, Incesticide, they listed all these cool bands to check out. And like I went and checked those out, and they led to other bands. But, I mean, so I can't separate the guy from the mythology that I think a lot of money was made like mythologizing him after he died. I know. So like I'm just wondering, when you were working with him, did it just feel like, oh, here's another kid from the neighborhood that I'm helping out on
I guess so.
Yeah.
But I mean, I really liked him. I mean, he was, like he was a good friend. I mean, he was, super comfortable to be around, really funny, which a lot of people don't. I mean, he's been portrayed as this like depressed, guy that wants to kill himself or whatever. But I mean, he was really he was super funny, really hilarious.
I feel like lots of the times the people that are the most funny are also have like a dark depressive side.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm from Wisconsin, and I know lots of the guys that write for The Onion or wrote for The Onion, and lots of them have depressive sides too. So I think there's something there. Like it makes sense. Like it makes you see the world in a way that allows you to be funny. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, Aberdeen itself too is kind of a depressing place, and mostly because it rains. I mean, obviously there's nothing to do. Rains a lot. That's why there's a lot of drinking that goes on up there. A lot of alcoholism.
Was there any of that in your family?
Yeah, my dad drank a bunch, probably more than he should have. My mom didn't really though. So,
do you ever deal with depression, or did it just go fly by you?
Yeah, no. I remember being kind of depressed when I first moved to San Francisco, just because I didn't really know anybody besides my couple of bandmates, and they were at that point. I had a girl in our band that played bass, and so and her and Buzz were a couple. So, I was kind of the third wheel, I guess. And so, just not knowing anybody, I guess, for a while was just kind of like, oh, it's kind of a bummer. But I stuck it out, just knowing, that eventually things would get better.
When did the band start taking over your life?
Right away.
Yeah.
I mean, we would practice every day, even if we had nothing going on, no shows booked or anything. We would practice for 3-4 hours every day.
Is there a time when you felt like you came into your own as a drummer?
No, I probably always thought that I was good. I don't know.
Really?
No, I don't know.
That's awesome.
No, I mean, but I always.
Because I always feel like I want to get better.
Oh, I still do. I mean, and I still try to practice stuff and work on sticking and things like that.
It seems like from an early age you had a distinctive style, at least to my ear. Like,
I mean, I think it's really just confidence. If you're confident in what you're doing, then you can do anything.
Where does that confidence come from? Just the fact that you worked hard at it and you practiced a lot?
I guess so, or just I don't know. Just I mean, with drums, like I said early on, I'm like, oh, here's how you do it,
Right. You just kind of had that
really
innate
knowing
confidence.
how to do it, but I don't know. Just it's part of it's too. It's just fun, fun to play with other people and play music. So thankfully, it still is.
Okay, so you're in San Francisco, and then the whole grunge thing takes off in Seattle, and is that partially why you guys got the major label deal?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
How did that all go down?
Well, funny enough, it was Nirvana had already that record already blew up, and I remember we were hanging out with those guys.
With the Bleach record or the
Nevermind.
The Nevermind record.
Nevermind. And I remember Kurt saying to me, like, "Would you guys consider like signing like a big major label deal?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think we would. Yeah, I mean, why not?"
And you have kids?
I have 2 kids. Yeah.
How old are they?
They are 9 and 5.
Is it harder to tour now that you have kids?
Oh yeah, for sure. And now that now that they're getting older too, they kind of know, like, oh, you're gonna be gone for a while. It kind of sucks.
Were you nervous to have kids because of that reason?
Well, my wife and I had long talks about it. Like, look, you realize that. I mean, I want to do this, but I'm still gonna have to do what I do and tour, you know. There's certainly a lot more of arranging things to do stuff, but you know, when I'm home, I've got nothing going on. I can spend all the time in the world with them. But yeah, I mean, it's hard.
What does your wife do?
She's a stay-at-home mom.
Awesome.
Pretty much. I mean, that's a full-time job.
And when did you meet?
We met probably for the first time about 96 at a gig. There was a place here in town called Jabberjaw.
Yeah.
You know about that?
That was
place?
an all-ages place.
Right.
In LA.
She used to hang out there. And I think Buzz and his wife had met her first because I was still living in San Francisco when Buzz eventually moved down here. And around that time, that was kind of the place where there were shows, yeah. And so there wasn't a lot of venues for bands to play out in LA, which just seems weird now. But yeah, they met her there, and I met her through them.
So before you met your wife, did you have lots of girlfriends?
I was previously married.
How long were you married before?
5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Married to a girl in San Francisco who was a guitar player in a band.
And then after that didn't work out, you moved down to LA?
Yeah. Things happen.
Yeah.
What can I say? But yeah, I've been.
What did you learn from that? What did you learn from that experience? Like
from my first marriage?
Yeah. Did you learn something about yourself or about like how you work in relationships or what you want?
Well, I mean, I'd had kind of long-term girlfriends before that, but without doing a bunch of shit talking about it, I guess.
Okay.
The touring thing was a big problem, which seemed really odd because she was also in a band that toured.
Right.
But I guess it was, and she later admitted that it was somewhat of a jealousy thing of the band. But yeah, it was just hard on both of us to be gone. Harder on her, I guess, for the most part, for me to be gone.
And so then when you got remarried, you found the right person who's cool with you being gone.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's still hard, you know.
Yeah.
It's still hard on her, but I think she's, I don't know what it is, somehow more understanding, you know, I guess.
So you're really into baseball.
I am, yeah.
And we were talking about this before, but you were into it as a kid, and then you got super into music, and you kind of turned your back on baseball for a while, and then got back into it later when you didn't care what anybody thought of you anymore? Or
well, you know,
it
was like so the last time I played was when I was 13 in Babe Ruth, and that was kind of the turning point when kids were like, you know, the jock kids were going this way and they were just kind of jerks. Yeah. And then I was kind of more on the side of kids that were like the stoner kids, I guess, you know, that were into like music. What I was going to say is Buzz is the one that got me back into baseball. Oh. Back to baseball. Like, you know, we lived in San Francisco all like for 11 years and I never went to a game there. And then it wasn't until...
Did you live there even when the World Series was there?
Yeah. I was there when...
and the earthquake?
I was there when the earthquake... I was working at the pizza place and it was on TV and then the earthquake hit.
Oh, shit.
So, but even then I wasn't really paying attention to baseball. It wasn't until like maybe about 8 years ago, Buzz was like, oh, come to a Dodgers game. I'm like, okay, sure. It sounds like, you know, I used to like it when I was a kid. So yeah, it sounds good. And then I went to a couple more and then then it just landslide, got right back into it. I was like, that's, you know, and as a kid, I wasn't a Dodgers fan either. I mean, we had Mariners and they were American League and we always used to go see them play the Yankees because, you know, like 77, 78 was when Yankees were the hot team with Reggie Jackson and so I used to go, like a few times to see games at the Kingdome.
What would your walk-on song be?
Oh, it would be War Ensemble by Slayer, you know.
Nice.
It'd have to be like something super aggressive. I'm surprised that there's not more people that have something like that, you know.
I wonder if they restrict the songs that you can put on.
I don't know. I wonder. I mean, they probably, yeah. I mean, you probably couldn't have something that has like cussing in it or something like that. But here's a good one.
Has anybody ever used a Melvins song?
I was just gonna say, a friend of mine texted me. We're on the road, and he's like, I knew he was going to the game, and he's like, I just heard your song, and I'm like, you were listening to the song before you went to the baseball game, and it was the song that's on this record called Bride Scream Murder. It's the first song that's kind of this military march song. And he's like, no, they played it. And I was like, no way. There's no way. He's like, I swear. And so they used this song for their opening montage before they came on the field. They didn't use it every game, but they used it for a while, and I tried to go and be there when they played it, but I could never catch it. But some other friends of mine are like, yeah, they're playing your guys' song before they go on the field.
Run me in the dirt. Run me,
Would it show up on royalty statements?
No, because and we looked into this too, obviously because we're Dodgers fans and we're like, holy shit, we couldn't believe it. But no, they just pay like a flat fee to whoever, BMI or ASCAP or whatever, and so yeah.
So BMI didn't pass that down to you? That's what they're supposed to do.
Well, I think it's kind of an all-in thing, and they just kind of split it up between.
Okay.
As far as I know, I mean that's what we were told anyway. And it's like, sure, it'd be great to get a bunch of cash, but at the same time,
it would also be just cool to see it on your
thing. Yeah. I mean, hey, anytime, use our song anytime you guys want to.
How often do you and Buzz go to games?
I went to a bunch last year. I went to a ton, and then I even went to a few on tour. I ended up going on tour with this band called Off. You know those guys?
Yep.
Their drummer couldn't do this tour.
Is that Mario?
Yeah. He couldn't do the tour. He already had other commitments, and they had this thing going on, and so they asked me to play drums. And we did some shows in Florida, and anytime we got a tour, I always look up to see, okay, where is there a possibility that we could go to a baseball game? And I ended up getting the 2 Florida parks and going to both of those, which was good because we're never really there. We hardly ever go there in the summertime, because it's too hot. So I got to go to Marlins Stadium there, and the one in Tampa Bay.
So do fans ever come up to you guys at Dodgers Stadium?
Yeah, I mean, well, Buzz obviously gets recognized at every place, and this last year we went to the first playoff game, and it was like every 5 feet, hey, you guys are here, cool, and so that's pretty funny. And
so your people go to the games too. So.
Sure,
Have you ever sat in the section where you pay $30 for a ticket and all you can eat hot dogs and popcorn?
No, I've never sat out there.
I want to sit out there next year or this year, I guess.
Yeah, I've never sat out in the outfield. My favorite place is always behind home plate, like up in like the
like the
infield
mezzanine?
reserve section at Dodger Stadium. So those are like about $30. Sometimes you get cheaper off the StubHub or whatever.
That's what I do. I got like $15 tickets.
Yeah.
Really good seats.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much always buy off StubHub now for tickets. Yeah.
So are your kids musicians?
We'll see. I mean, they like to bang on the drums, They think they are, which is good. See, they've got that confidence,
If they told you they wanted to drop out of school and become musicians, what would your reaction be?
No. It's not going to work for everybody.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I guess it would depend on what the situation was, I mean, if they got in some good band that I thought was going to do something, then yeah, maybe I'd let them.
But if it was some shitty band, then
I don't know. But then I'd probably be wrong.
It's like a question of you'll be wrong by that point.
Yeah. But I mean, they're interested in music, and I kind of let them pick whatever they want to listen to, which sometimes is good. Like they'll pick up on things that I play in the car and go like, "Oh, who's this?" Or I'll hear them humming something. I'm like, "Were you just humming a Captain Beefheart song?" Oh yeah.
So what do you have coming up? Are you working on a new Melvins record right now?
Yeah, we start recording tomorrow.
Awesome.
Yeah, we got a few things that we're doing.
And you're recording that yourselves or in your own space?
Yeah, we are. Yeah. There's a record we started about 15 years ago with this guy that we're finally finishing up.
That's what you're starting tomorrow, or
no? But we're good. We have booked out the rest of February in our studio. And that's one of the things we're going to do, as well as a bunch of other things,
All right. Well, thanks so much for being here,
thank
Dale.
you.
All right, great. The Trap Set is produced by me, Joe Wong, along with Chris Karwowski, who also edits the program. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at The Trap Set. And visit our website, thetrapset.net, to subscribe to our show for free. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please donate to our show. If you can't afford to donate, please tell a friend and give us a good rating on iTunes. Contact us at thetrapset@gmail.com.